Now networking. Now I did have a bit of a debate here about what would be most useful to share in terms of building your network, but I thought I'd draw on my recent experience of the benefit of having a network. Having just recently gone particularly my freelancer after 30 years in corporate life, and it's kind of really I reflected on. Over the course of the career, you will build a group of people, you'll accumulate a group of people who are your advocates. People who really support you, like you, will recommend you, etc., etc., etc. And my guesstimate is you'll typically gain about 20 of those, over 20 or 30 maximum, over 30 years, maybe one a year, I don't know. Quite a relatively small group for a long time. Then you'll have others who are allies. In other words, you've given a good impression, given a good impression to them. They like working with you. They've worked with you in the past. They'd be happy probably to work with you again, almost certainly. So they're allies. And again, you might amass sort of 100 or so of those over your career. And then beyond that, you'll have a lot of associates. You'll have potentially many thousands of associates. Just people who will remember you work with or came across, and they'll remember you and hopefully you gave a good impression, but it's not a very strong relationship. And the important thing is to know who your advocates and your allies are and to keep in touch with them, to make sure you help them and they help you over the course of your career. So I did a list of all the assignments I've had since as a freelancer, and there were 18 different projects, effectively, different assignments, and 14 of them came from prior people I already knew, advocates and allies. So one was for a former boss, another was a former line report, a former client, a former business partner, and several from former colleagues. So you can see how important it is to build your network of people who might be able to help you, and especially in the modern world where people are much more likely to be working freelance and moving around more than perhaps they were 20 years ago. And how to do that? Well, I actually think it's quite straightforward. It's all about just being a decent, conscientious human being. There is no other tips or tricks to be shared, I don't think. If you want to earn trust, then listen to people and be courteous. Listening skills are fundamental to building trust. Always be open and honest. Ideally know what you're talking about. Don't pretend to know stuff that you don't know about. Always keep your word. And if you do make a mistake, put your hand up. I mean, if you do those things, you will build trust. You will still make as many mistakes as other people, but that people will trust you. And obviously at the bottom here, it's effectively just the negatives, the converse of the factors above.